Greetings, superior beings, greetings, supreme being. We are all the human race. Our common enemy is death. Welcome on Try Something.Vegetarian on YouTube. Today is the 23rd of June, Sunday, 16/17 in 2019, and this is the broadcast. Putin, Tehran in full compliance with its nuclear commitments, sanctions against Iran, groundless. I am live. Oh wow. Oh yeah, right. So I have covered up the camera. So if you don't want to see a person that is not wearing a t-shirt because it's too warm in the Netherlands, then you can switch to another tab while this audio continues in the background, because I'm gonna reveal myself onto you all right now. There, a flash of light. BC Hoffman, there he is. So, single ladies are still welcome. I'm going to cover some articles today. Of course, a global thermonuclear Armageddon must be prevented, of course, by any means necessary. Prevent world war and create universal peace. It could have been the end already today if Trump would have attacked, and we'll get to that because Putin has made clear. That's this article. Putin says US attack on Iran would be a catastrophe. So that's the Reuters.com article. That the title of this broadcast is based on what he says in this short article. Other articles are: will Russia back US maximum pressure on Iran? US-Russian cooperation on Iran has its limits, by AlJazeera.com. They are also going well. I think they have some excellent reports and also live video and stuff. Really nice. And Newsweek.com, Russia praises Iran and their joint wins in Syria as US tensions rise. Almost sounds like conjoined twins or something. In Syria. Trump for ending all war, and a committee of 300 and others may be involved in maintaining these wars, funding terrorists, reducing the global population, and other nefarious things that the government should do something about. But if they're backed up by people with directed energy weapons, remote torture weapons, then a fair trial is impossible, and it may be impossible to bring them to justice. So then we all need to prepare. So soon as Iran does anything, then Trump will use it as an excuse to invade Iran, and then Russia will defend its ally Iran, and usually they leave out Putin and the fact that Medvedev also said an attack on Iran will endanger the entire world in the Haaretz article. And Putin is just about the same. You can expect the same from their ally. So only if Trump would have an agreement with Putin about how to handle this, then it cannot escalate into a world war, which some powers that be may have planned to build a third temple, reduce the global population to 500 million, and rule the world from Jerusalem. They want a global government, a la Hitler, a Third Reich, Neuordnung. They want centralization of power, power to the pedo, instead of decentralization, power to the peaceful or power to the people. So let's see. This is a short video of 31 seconds. Newsweek exclusive details military options for Iran ground invasion. So first there must be an agreement with Putin and mutually assured destruction, severe nuclear winter, and possible end of the world Armageddon. If the Earth would spin off axis, if they'd use too many nukes, for example, the Earth is already wobbling, it could crash into the moon because of its circular trajectory or motion. So that must be prevented by any means necessary. All doomsday devices must be destroyed or sabotaged so nobody can blow up our world. And I'm for dismantling all these nuclear weapons, you know. I hate the bomb. So let's start this video.
Patrick Shanahan reported Trump's top national security staff.
So they obviously sabotage it. So I promote nudism because clothing can cause cancer, especially tight underwear and such that cuts off blood flow through our body, etc. So how to get audio on this? That's the question. Every time I rewind, then the audio is switched off when I press the play button. Perhaps if I use this play button, then perhaps it will work.
Secretary Patrick Shanahan reportedly presented a plan to Trump's top national security staff, a plan to send 120,000 U.S. troops into the Middle East to try to intimidate Iran or maybe to invade Iran. Newsweek reporting today that those military options presented to the president's top national security staff included airstrikes and setting up for a possible ground invasion. A ground invasion of Iran.
Well, what can I say? It's best to be prepared, and people living in Iran could also consider moving to a safer country temporarily. So let's read that article. I think most people already agree that invading Iran is insane. It's an insane idea with Russia as its ally. So it wouldn't be like Iraq, and they would have many more troop losses, many more soldiers dying than they did in Iraq. So these wars in the Middle East cost the taxpayers 4.8 trillion. You can see that meter on costofwar.com, still going up. 5,000 dead US soldiers and 1 million dead Iraqi civilians, and all these depleted uranium children being born for millions of years to come, because the half-life of depleted uranium is 4.5 billion years. Or 4.5, yeah, I think billion. And so these are babies with horrible birth defects, etc., and it's a war crime, and the UN is the wolf in sheep's clothes, or rather Luciferian bunch, because dehumanization is part of the 10 phases of active measures of genocide. I mean, the 10 phases of genocide. So you can Google Lucifer United Nations, and then you can find their original address, which was on number 666, like Kushner's address. But then they moved to 866, and that's Lucis Trust, formerly Lucifer Book Publishing Company of the UN. So Luciferians are Freemasons, all Freemasons are Luciferians, and all intelligence agencies are Masonic and controlled by the Jesuits, according to Citizens Action Network. And nobody has been able to disprove this to me. Nor have they been able to disprove to me that Trump is a crypto Jew and Putin as well. and Macron and Merkel and Bill Gates. Nor that Top Shebegoyim Harok Talmud quote is not in the Talmud, because there are two Jewish sources that I covered, and supposedly it's also in the Jewish Encyclopedia. So that's only valid during war time, according to some people like jihad. So two wrongs don't make a right. Religion is an abomination. Religion is an illusion, to quote Freud. So we must love our fellow humans, worship our fellow humans, instead of a fictional entity that they use to play their enemies or everybody out against each other, so they can plunder and get away with everything, steal everything they own. And reducing the global population is part of enslaving everyone. So it must be prevented one way or another. Because they have that synthetic telepathy machine, the Malech patent, explained in my video about these patents, scalar patents on this broadcast, on this channel, try Something.Vegetarian. Okay, we could move to the picture show and then read Newsweek.com article. It's not too long. Ends with Rouhani said. Okay, let's read this then.
Russian President Vladimir Putin praised his country's relationship with Iran at a meeting alongside his counterpart from Tehran, highlighting their strategic partnership at a time when both face tense relationships with the United States. After talks Friday with Iranian President Hassan Rouhani at the sidelines of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit in the Kyrgyz capital of Bishkek, Putin said that relations between Russia and Iran are multifaceted, multilateral, and that this concerns the economy. This concerns.
So it is possible that this World War III was prevented already, and that this would have been it if Trump would have done the attack. Then it would have escalated. He would have killed about 150 people over a drone and possible other drone attack on the Cantor tankers, because we see that the hole in these tankers is above sea level and mines are usually below sea level. So, and there was somebody that saw the projectile. So many people think that it's a false flag attack, that it could be Mossad or some other advanced group that did this to evoke a world war, a la the sinking of the Lusitania, which I'm not going into now. But it's possible that that now we're past that time that a world war could have occurred. However, I don't think so. I think that Jesuits and Masons have planned to build this third temple and to reduce the global population, and that they're going to find a way to do that. And for them, it's a simple matter of pushing a button, basically. So we should all prepare now. And it fits in with the former Mossad slogan, by means of deception thou shalt do war. And it's simply wrong to deceive your own people and also to create wars. Imperialism is passé since Hitler. Many people say never again. They mean never again World War, never again FEMA camps, and never again hollow point bullets and stuff like that, perhaps. Anyway, never again BFSA. I think, well, perhaps. Blue Force situational awareness, so we can all be prepared to be home quarantined. With storable food, a radiological water filter, and storable food, and at least iodine pills and perhaps a gas mask. You can get them at dump stores also, but you'd need a nuclear biological chemical filter. There are prepper websites for preppers. Though I don't know if they focus on the minimum required to survive World War III, a nuclear event. And safest countries may be Switzerland and Iceland. I've covered it in my previous broadcast, there are many others. Portugal, and well, it's an EU country, and Trump basically they disagree with Trump's annexations. So I think it's it may be best to say it's possible they've prevented World War III. It fits in with their illusion that they're trying to bring peace to the Middle East, also with their two-state solution World War plan. But in fact, these Jesuits and Masons want a global government and population reduction to 500 million, clear from these book quotes and Georgia Guidestones. So lots of people think they are going to do this, and they're convinced, also because of the red heifer prediction, the red Gentile cow born in Israel without blemishes, which announces, prophesizes the coming of the Messiah, according to the rabbinical scholars and Hebrew scholars and rabbis. I mean, so it's pretty warm in my room, and I'm gonna take a sip of tea if that's there. So when these nukes go off, there will be a tidal wave. There will be tidal waves of about 90 meters high. And you have to calculate that in as well. And I basically have to get a passport first. So I didn't calculate it in, and I thought my precognitive vision was not a precognitive vision of me dying during these floods. So if the dikes don't break and there's no tidal wave, then it's easy to survive here. But my garden is 5 meters below sea level, so I will have to go to some other country, I think, if I want to survive, and I advise others to do the same. So I doubt if any of these bomb shelters are water flooding resistant, and it's about 90-meter high tidal waves generated by these megaton nukes, etc. And also nuclear torpedoes, you can read about with Google. So I think World War wouldn't benefit anyone. It would be mutually assured destruction. And it's possible no one without a Tesla plasma shield would survive. So scalar weapons have made nukes obsolete. And I'm just repeating these things because I think it has a deterrent effect qua World War III, basically. Trump with his parents, Fred Trump and his mother, and they supposedly both died in a Jewish nursing home. So Trump may be Jewish, according to many sources online. Also because he changed his name from Trump to Trump. Some sources disagree on that one. And his brother joined a Jewish fraternity, though Wiki writes he was supposedly not Jewish. But then how could he have joined? Don't they do any type of checkup? At that time, people of other faiths were not permitted in that fraternity. Sigma Alpha Mu or something. And then we can continue with the picture show. So the Jesuits were expelled from a lot of countries, and they're also famous for their Inquisition, of course, which according to some sources is still ongoing. And it's also to eliminate all the Protestant Christians, etc. So we are all in a yellow submarine. Am I right? Yes. So let's pick a pipe. No war, universal peace now. Control these factors that control aging first, then you can worry about becoming overpopulated, which we are not at this stage. That's the map I was talking about. Stages of universal peace, perfect society creation. Reich, Tesla, Pavlov, Freud, and the Gemara. Tra-la-la. Aida. Summertime is here. Yes. Could have been at the beach. So I have little options. What do you all think? Is it possible to build a sort of watertight container in which we could survive 90-meter high floods? You could put it in the ground, but the thing is coming out basically after these houses are washed away and stuff. People can also circumcise themselves. No, I'm kidding. Coming out, yeah. Well, it could be made to float, or compressed air that you release so that it floats upwards, a bit like Noah. Biblical narrative. Could I call it a biblical canard? I still have to Google what that means. But there's so little time. Nuke could go off any time now, so Single ladies are urged to make love with me or other people. To at least have one more orgasm before we all go away. World War III is unpreventable. There's no way to prevent World War III. People cannot prevent World War III. World War III prevention is impossible. No, I'm kidding. There are infinite ways to prevent World War III. But that gets people thinking, really, is this guy making this up or some kind of prophet or something? No, real prophets do not exist. A time-traveling neural network exists, and perhaps it would help some people with certain matters, but if it wants to get rid of 7 billion people, then usually it doesn't. Unless you do something they want you to do, if they think you are useful to them, basically. Nothing's gonna stop us now. We're gonna do this. Preempt, preempt, preempt. Lol. Dalton. How about population reduction to 500 million? How selfless is? So according to some, they're just a bunch of Satanists that programmed everybody to turn the other cheek. They can easily get people for the next satanic human sacrifice in the belly of the Vatican, while upstairs they're showing the tourists the works of Michelangelo. A child is sacrificed in the bellies of the Vatican with a long golden dagger. According to some online source with a parrot. So hence also my Putin picture of the thumbnail of this broadcast, basically. Because people realize that Putin is one of them, one of the Jesuit-controlled people. So this is the satanic hand signal, and El Diablo. Is it also a Masonic hand signal? El Cornuto also. And these are not words forbidden on YouTube. Not among the 227 forbidden YouTube words that are in violation of the YouTube policy. The YouTube user policy, that is. World War III prevention, universal peace creation, So never believe it when they say World War III cannot be prevented. It always can. They just say that so you prepare. Sometimes they want to sell something. But in reality they might leave out the radiological water filter, and that peanut butter and rice are good storable food, like peas, dried peas. Because they might not really want you to survive. Though I say the more of us the better, they say the less there are of us the better. And they may see humanity as a cancer upon the earth instead of the people that are trying to exterminate humanity. So, and perhaps it's all just a test, you know, to see if they would help with the population reduction, etc. And then there will never be in the world to come, in Olam Haba. The neural network is real, and that everything is energy is very well possible, even time itself. I know I've had precognitive visions, so I know time travel is possible for sure. Nobody can convince me that it's not. In other words, it will become almighty and it will create the world to come. So I think that that will happen sooner or later. But the idea is working towards that in stages, gradually, and not with a world war in which 7 billion people are annihilated. And I think that that will set them back a long time by controlling all factors that control aging. Some estimate that a world war would take 30 years, so it's not like boom, oh, we can come out of the cellar now and go to Haiti or to Tenerife or Tahiti or whatever. Which would also be contaminated. Even if only some nukes go off in one country, then the whole world would become contaminated by that. We've seen Fukushima and we've seen Chernobyl, and there's a video of the fusion nukes, and then you can see how slowly but surely the radioactive cloud reaches Europe, Aldermaston, and other countries around the world. And in every lung, chips of plutonium are twinkling in every lung. That's also in the Kate Bush song, and that's true because of the atomic testing they've done, the Trinity test and other nuclear tests. And we can see these blast craters, so whether they are ground detonated, because they don't have mobile nukes, and a special relationship with the sun is required, whatever, they have these blast craters, and I think they may be real, basically, and so are scalar weapons, the Dr. Bernard Easland HARP patent. So they can generate that missile shield anywhere with these scalar waves. They don't use microwaves. Because they're not stupid. So, but the people we see here are people that they've put in that position that they control via handlers. And they're all Jesuit and Mason controlled, and Rouhani perhaps via the Muslim Brotherhood or whatever. So isn't a fake alien invasion much better? Could they do things more selectively so that they keep the people they want to keep, and the really bad ones are safely annihilated with the scalar weapon? Judgment Day, that type of idea. where God punishes the wicked and rewards the righteous. The meek shall inherit the earth, blah blah. Well, they could do it either way, and they could push the button right now, so better prepare. Because these people that want to reduce the global population are serious, bloody serious about it, and the Georgia Guidestones, possibly with human blood on them, also prove this. And it's wrong to blame whole countries or humanity as a whole for things they've done, so we should be careful we don't do that. One who knows of evidence must testify, so then you should point your finger at who's really doing it, who's really the cancer upon the earth, if you will. It must be cut out to heal, to prevent the whole body, the whole earth from becoming contaminated. So the current leader of the Jesuits is Arturo Sosa, and then you have the Knights of Malta, etc. Bilderberg, committee of 300, Freemasons. Famous Masons were Mozart, Benjamin Franklin, and Richard Pryor. He's still alive. Brewster's Millions and other movies. So if they have the death ray, they can remotely torture people and they're practically invincible, and a fair trial is impossible. So it's possible they privilege Jesuits and Masons and other people that fit in with their global government agenda. So temperature is rising. It's 29.4 degrees on my clock in my room. And my necklace is not cool anymore, so I can take it off. I can wear another one that's still cool. This one's bigger. And bigger is better. Bigger is always better. Of course, that's not true, but that's why I use the funny voice. Cool necklace or what? I think so. Boonga, 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 boonga. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share this important video on your timeline. Perhaps there are other more important videos on this channel that must be shared. To control factors that control aging and time and create that perfect society in which we all live happily eternally, because you don't want to know the alternative. And well, let's have fun, enjoy the sunshine, and be prepared. I'm not prepared yet either, so people can always Skype me, Prologic999, if they know a place to hide during World War III, in the Netherlands preferably, and it must be above sea level at least. But I think if there are going to be 90-meter high tidal waves, it may be impossible to survive in the Netherlands unless you can have a little submarine prepared and like Noah. And then when it happens, then you can go into the submarine. That has to be protected so that it is not swept and crashes into other things. And then you'd have to be able to go up above the probably contaminated water, and then you could survive. Perhaps there are other ways. Perhaps you could just lie down on the floor until it's flooded and then swim upward, and it would be a lot of water, so it might not be super contaminated. I don't know. So then the option is taking a holiday to Portugal, to Switzerland or Iceland, Antarctica. Don't know if that's doable. They might only allow scientists there. And there's some other island near the north of Scotland. It's all covered in my previous broadcast, so I might check that myself to find good places to go to. But first I'd have to get a passport, and that might take a week or longer. So for now I have to find something near Meidrecht but above sea level. And boats will also be swept away by these 90-meter high tidal waves. So I think these nuclear torpedoes are real no matter what they write. And it might also be a scalar weapon. They used to do that and other things. So mountains of Switzerland, maybe one option. So I'm wondering, could I go to Switzerland without a passport, because they're not an EU country? I guess that at the border they check, but I don't really recall going into Switzerland that they would check our passport. And I have my driver's license, so perhaps, but that's probably not enough. Perhaps some other document so I can prove I'm a Dutch citizen. Well, it's quite expensive passport. It's like $80 per 4 years or something. That I at the moment chose not to have one. So tomorrow I can check how long it will take. And perhaps there are people with a water-resistant shelter. And then we'll just have to wait a couple of days until the water has subsided, and then or swim up and swim to a dry location. So an inflatable boat, it might be a lifesaver as well. $5 I still could buy something. So thank you all for watching. Your ideas are welcome for universal peace creation, for surviving World War III. And thank you all for watching. Tune in next time on Try Something.Vegetarian for universal peace.